cannot answer your questions to your satisfaction. Now, can I please have your account number in order to pull up your information?" The woman on the other end of the phone muttered a string of colorful words, most of which were muffled but not inaudible. In the end, I answered her question and moved on to the next caller. 362. And so it went, treading water until my head felt fully submerged, like all I had was a thin straw to suck down air from above the waves. And it wasn't even a good straw. It was more like one of those paper straws they'd switch to at every bar within easy driving distance from the office. So it rapidly became a soggy mess and left me coughing and sputtering by the time my computer alerted me it was time to take a break. Of course, as with most things at Pink Bubble Books, a break wasn't really a break. The only restroom for call center employees was on the second floor, at the end of a long hallway. By the time one made it upstairs and back again, perhaps daring to stop and grab a snack or to refill one's water bottle in the break room at the opposite end of the hallway, the break was over, and it was a mad dash to get back to one's cubicle before incurring a penalty. My lunch break was the only real escape from the office. I had a well-established routine that took exactly 30 minutes. Generally, I packed a sandwich and a small bag of chips, maybe throwing in an apple if I had any lying around the kitchen. There was a man-made lake at the center of the business complex, and I could walk one lap around it, munching as I went, before I had to head back to the office. It wasn't much, but there was something about the water that grounded me. It was calming, all on its own. Almost like just the sight of it could release some of the pressure slamming down on my shoulders. As a bonus, there were usually cute ducks to watch. Later that afternoon, as I returned from my customary stroll, I stopped at the water cooler to refill my dinged-up stainless steel thermos. Just as I came to the end, a presence moved behind me. Turning my head, I released the spigot and began screwing the lid on top of my bottle. "Hey, Blair, hanging in there?" Shannon, one of the remaining few customer service reps, asked, offering a sympathetic smile as she hitched one shoulder. "TGIF at least, right?" "No kidding," I replied, stepping aside to allow her access to the water cooler. She held a purple water bottle in her manicured hands. "On the bright side, I think with this uptick in complaints and screaming, I've started to lose the hearing in my right ear. So maybe the complaints will get slightly less annoying by this time next week," I teased. Shannon laughed, the sound sweet and melodic. Though the workforce was now significantly dwindled, it was still hard getting to know people. We rarely got much of a chance to talk to one another, as we were always so busy with customers. But even before the exodus, I'd had a hard time getting to know most of my coworkers. Not that I didn't want to, or that I was unfriendly. I just struggled to come up with things to say. Small talk had never been my forte. And in an office where most of the socialization took place in little snippets between bathroom breaks and grabbing quick snacks, small talk was an essential skill. Shannon was an exception. She was one of those people who could make friends with just about anyone, and always had a sunny smile that made you feel as though she really saw you. When I'd first met her a couple of years ago, I'd found her to be borderline intimidating. What with her shampoo commercial-worthy beach waves, her polished manicure, expertly shaped eyebrows, and subtle but somehow striking use of eye makeup. She was so polished and put together, in a way that only made me question myself. Of course, it didn't help that my shirt was misbuttoned when she'd introduced herself to me on her first day as my trainee. Later, when I spilled the better part of a vanilla bean latte on my gray slacks, I figured she'd write me off as some kind of slob. Instead, her charming personality quickly shone through. In the months that followed, even after she was on her own and no longer under my tutelage, she always made a point to seek me out when there was a sliver of a gap in the day. "Are you going to happy hour tonight? I think Dan from accounting will be there." She said this last part with a waggle of said perfect eyebrows and needled me gently with her elbow. I didn't bother correcting her, though it was obvious to anyone with eyeballs that Dan from accounting would be much happier buying her a drink at the bar than me. As it was, Shannon had a long-term boyfriend. He worked in luxury...